Hey guys, this video pertains to Module 2 and understanding the social work perspective. So I wanted to give you guys a little bit more information about what we're looking at in Module 2. Now, if we go back to Module 1 for just a minute, that module centered around understanding getting to know the profession of social work. Okay, we talked a lot about what is social work. There were some videos and things in there. You guys defined social work and talked about how it is different than other professions. And the takeaway from that, the major takeaway from that module was understanding that social work is very different than most helping professions in that we practice on multiple levels. We practice not only with individuals and groups, families. We also practice on the micro or the macro level with communities and organizations, and affecting change on a bigger scale. So most professions don't practice on those many that many levels. Um, Sometimes you may have the uh, uh, extreme ends of things as far as like micro and macro, but we practice everything in between. Because I think as social work as it evolved, we realized it's not just about the individual, it's about their environment. And that becomes one of our signature views in social work is understanding the person, their environment. And that environment is not always limited to the micro and the meso. The environment is society as a whole, things of that nature. So understanding that macro practice is central to the overall pedagogy of social work practice. So understanding that and seeing social work for what it is. So some of you may be completely new to social work. So this information becomes really important in understanding what does it mean to be a social worker, because as you know, there's a lot of misconception out there about, all social work is uh, you know baby stealers. And we all know that that's not a factual statement. So understanding where we are as a profession is very important. Now, also understanding the roles at different levels. There was a discussion in Module 1 about BSW versus MSW. And the reason we talked a little bit about that is understanding those professional roles, because some of you may be bachelor's level social workers already, um, and you need to understand the differences between where we are as bachelor's level social workers and where we're moving to as master's level social workers. Those increased competencies will gain. Um, so those were the kind of the takeaways from Module 1. Now, as we move into Module 2, we explore things a little differently. We're looking at practice approaches. The overall essay assignment focuses on 4 different practice approaches mentioned in your book. The generalist practice, there's also some more information on generalist practice listed in the module, some more detailed information. There's a chapter from another book I found that I thought was really good information about generalist practice and how it works, because at Concord, we teach generalist practice in our master's program, and also generalist practice is an overall theme for the bachelor's level program. Um, Generalist practice is a more broad way of uh, looking at practice and social work, and in the rural environment, that can be very important in working um, with all types of different individuals and in different situations. So, in the Masters of Social Work program, the practice approach is not specialized. It's a specialization in generalist practice, if that makes sense. So I know a lot of times in the book it mentions that you may get a more specialized um, education in the master's level program, but we took a little bit of an approach, a different approach on that. And we also focus on the rural environment. So our focus is rule-based, so you'll see a lot of rule references and classes that focus on rural Appalachia and rural social work practice. But with all learning practice approaches, we also need to know our competencies. Social work is a competency-based profession, meaning that when you go through the program, you have ascertained that you are competent in these different areas. The social work competencies have recently changed. I think we have 9 competencies now. We used to have 10. So they are also listed in the module. So we need to become familiar with those. Those are all the things that you will be learning and will be confident in as a professional when you finish the program. Each class, references a competency. If you look in the syllabus of each class, you'll see that, so that you're getting that overall education. So understanding that and how your education works, I think is very important. Knowledge is powerful, and we need to understand how the competency works. So we're required to teach the competencies. That's part of learning that professional identity as a social worker. So we're looking at that this time in Module 2. Also, you'll note there's a document listed in the module, beginning notes of major issues. So this is kind of an outline and some notes on kind of what we're looking at now as it pertains to the licensure exam. So when you go to take your exam for licensure, these are some of the topics and how they're going to be addressed. So this kind of gives you a beginning start of themes you'll see as we go along in the class. So I wanted to take a minute just to explain that so you guys notice that, and some of the theories and things it mentions, we'll get there. I mean, we've got a module on down 6 or 7, I believe, that we get into some theoretical approaches for social work and things of that nature. So you'll see more and more of these things, but it kind of gives you an overview of things to build on from this course. Okay. Now I know that I've had some questions about the essay. Now I point you to the 4 practice approaches in chapter 3. So those pages, I think it's 42 through 45, you'll find helpful for that, and the 4 practice approaches are listed. But I think it's important for you to compare and contrast those practice approaches so you understand the different approaches to practicing social work. Now, when you do this, I do not want to see in your essays that you have just given me the information in the book in a different format, or you've quoted the book directly back in your essay. I want your opinions. I mean, you can give an overall understanding of each practice approach, but I want to see that you can articulate that you have some understanding of the differences between the 4. The differences in the practice approaches, what is similar, what's different, what is unique about them, what do you find interesting, those kind of things. So take some time and really think about that and approach it from that way. Also, APA format with your title page and references, in-text citations, your double spacing, that kind of thing. And don't forget your Module 2 discussion of generalist practice in the rural environment. So I know I mentioned that back a little bit further in the video. So take some time to explore that and talk a little bit about generalist practice. All right. So good luck with Module 2.